Welcome back for another episode live at RSA. I am really excited to again be joined by Alex Vesper. You may have caught the episode that we did live at Black Hat of last year. Pretty memorable one. We've got
the casino
in the background. We've got the New York and the flashing lights definitely giving us something entertainment. So we're in a bit more of a chilled environment this time around. But Alex, it's obviously great to see you, have you on. You've got a bit of an exciting new venture, I'm pointing, because we've got this exciting little glowing plot here. That's with Devicey. Tell us a little about who are Devicey, why join them, what's got you excited in this next new venture.
100%, Kate. Nice to see you too. Now, yeah, because last time we had flashing lights in a hotel casino, it would be weird not to have some sort of a glowing light to talk about where I get the privilege of spending some time. So I just started with Devicey as their CEO. Devicey is next generation device management that not only works across all the different platforms of laptops and desktops and mobile phones and tablets, but also in courses, configuration management, patching, application fixing, and carries that into compliance, both small C compliance like policy adherence, preventing configuration drift, and large C compliance, allowing customers to see and audit where they are against things like CIS or Essential 8, and then finally closing the gap that exists between the security teams and the device owners, because the security teams now started to see devices, laptops, desktops, things like that, become a big open bar door of attacking. And so understanding exactly which applications, firmware, operating systems, those are running on these devices, and comparing them and understanding of where they are relative to known CVEs and vulnerabilities is a gap today that we're looking at partners like Tenable today for a while to help close that gap for the security team while not impeding the day-to-day operational fleet managers who may be managing anywhere from 1,000 devices to 50 to 100,000 devices. We work with customers of all sizes.
No, it sounds like a super exciting adventure. And I think one thing that's worthwhile addressing, got a lot of the Insight partners, you've obviously got some great partnerships going on. I mean, talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so Insight was an initial investor in Devicey a while back. They upped their investments quite a bit recently, and with that, I ended up entering as CEO. And Insight has obviously got an incredible portfolio of technology companies. Tenable is actually one of them. Armis, Island, like they've got a long list of incredibly successful cybersecurity folks, companies. And I think they've always been ahead of the game in terms of seeing where different, I'll call it, areas were starting to come together. When I was looking at Devicey initially, it seemed to answer the nail on where the world of configuration and configuration drift of what is running on my endpoints combined with security vulnerabilities, like these two worlds have been coming together over the last, I'll call it 2 to 3 years especially. And with everybody operating in silos and so much to be able to have to handle, it's important that integrations and workflows are realized so that we can not put additional work on fleet managers and not put additional work on the security teams and close a gap that many of the gaps that exist there. Insight actually had the foresight, I think, to see those worlds coming together. And once I had a chance to really look at the data, it seemed like a no-brainer. Devicey was doing things differently in this space than I think some of the other traditional patch management solutions or even compliance solutions are doing. They're operating at the intersection of applications, compliance, and security in a way that I don't see anybody else doing.
What is it that's got you really excited about this week? Is there anything in particular that the business now coming in, or?
Yeah, I wouldn't have it any other way, I don't think. But a couple things I want to highlight there, because you touched on kind of simplification of automation. So one of the things that Devicey does at its core is a very tight integration and very tight partnership by Microsoft. Yeah, so for those customers, there are hundreds of thousands that are running into or SCCM or configuration management. Both platforms, one's on-prem, the SCCM, they're incredibly powerful platforms, but they have anywhere from 40,000 to 50,000 configuration, and it could be very complex to use that manage a small fleet or you're managing a large fleet. One of the things that Devicey does brilliant is it simplifies that complex layer and allows customers to reach like a click type of deployment, pushing, patching, fixing. So customers that are using Devicey experience have a very different customer experience that they're trying to manage something quite so complex with so many different variations. They see customers of ours see boot times in 20 seconds or less. They end up pushing computers and laptops, drop shipping with complete confidence. You open it up, put in your email and your password, and you're done and dusted. And it's for those who are managing, even if it's not a large, but heavily distributed team, to like work at home course, this starts to become fundamental to you saving time and energy and money, resources. There's that tight integration with Microsoft initially led us to some additional work that we released this week at RSA. In fact, Microsoft put it on their blog. We pushed it out just recently too. We launched our support for Microsoft Edge for Business. And so for their customers and our customers that are using Microsoft Edge as the browser, we are now incorporating policy data, data that is actually traversing the browser, extension data, all of that now that's captured from the browser level, in addition to the device level, in addition to firmware and operating systems and applications, because quite frankly, the browser is the new interface to just about everything. And so having an understanding of exactly what a customer is doing with it gives Microsoft visibility into what the customers are raising up their browsers for, gives us and our fleet manager customers the ability to understand where somebody might be deviating from compliance and their policy. Go together. So that was exciting. We were in the booth at Microsoft yesterday. We're going back again tomorrow. We've got a demo running in that booth as well, which is cool. And the booth's pretty impressive. Far more impressive than anything I've ever. Not a tiny one. There's definitely some budget spent. Like for us, if the customers that are now leveraging Microsoft Edge as a standard, this closes a gap and allows for a far richer, safer, and more secure experience that carries not just down to firmware. The one thing that we've heard from every single security and infrastructure organization that I've had the privilege of working with for the last 5 to 10 years is please no more tools. We've made investments in platforms for workflows. We've made investments for platform for exposure assessment. We've made investments for platform SIM and SOAR. Those are our platforms that are got to be core of the business. They put millions into it. They put hundreds, if not thousands of hours in training it. And so it's incumbent upon vendors like us to not only incorporate and orchestrate the platforms they've already invested in, but also integrate and enrich them. And that's really where, if someone's committed to Power BI, you're not going to get them to want to go log into a different interface to see a bunch of data. They want to see Power BI, see data frame, whatever it might be. And if they're using a platform like a Tenable for their exposure assessments, they don't want to go log into something else to see what their exposure assessment might be. So that's where I think vendors like us, and I think probably a large majority of the vendors at RSA, really have to put the customer first and have to prioritize the work into the SDKs and the APIs so they can consume and take action.
What's next on the horizon is I've actually been probably seen a really exciting position now that it's probably going to be that snowball effect. We're really going on this journey. This is going to be a ride. We all know what this space can be like. It's a fast-paced bit of a roller coaster. But what's got you excited about what the next 6, 12, 18 months?
So the most exciting thing is hearing from our customers directly, and in some of these prospect and sales calls that I've had a chance to join in the last couple of weeks, where a pattern recognition is canning in, where need to asks are starting to become very similar, and they seem to be in the same pockets and areas that Devicey operates with. So it's looking at things like the application patching, management, and fixing, the security vulnerability aspect, and then the compliance. So like I said, for small C, like policy enforcement, and large C, like actual frameworks, regulatory frameworks. And to hear those three things come up from customers across different industries and at various sizes, to me, edify our product roadmap, our integration roadmap, our ecosystem strategy, which is where we are heavily investing in it already. So what you can expect to see from Devicey over there 3 to 6 months will be a rise ecosystem partnerships and configuration, where we have customers, we already have some that are started to do early adopter programs with us, because once they heard that we were starting to build APIs on certain platforms, they raised their hand saying that would solve a whole bunch of hours of very stress-free every single week. And that has got to be the most energizing thing.
I really should not say that is what everybody strives.
Yes.
Help somebody sleep better at night.
I was talking to another one of our partners earlier today, and he framed it perfectly. He said, look, in this first version of what we're releasing, we're letting people get home like an hour or two earlier again. And I'm sitting there seriously quantified the value.
Right.
When at the end of the week, I didn't have to work extra late like on dinner. And these mean something. Like an old mentor of mine used to refer to it as psychic hacking, where you just like somebody, even a customer, gets energized about working with you as a partner, your ethos, what you're delivering in terms of outcomes. Yes, ROI, bottom line, saving money on resources and time. But when somebody's, I like working with these people and I love what they've been able to deliver for me professionally and personally, it's a psychic equity that's tough to measure, but it's really sticky.
And I feel like from the emotional perspective, then that's where it builds, okay, I can't necessarily get you a quantifiable figure as to why this is impacted this way, but what I can do is say that it is impacting. Like, and I think what you mentioned there is so important, because we're definitely in an industry where time becomes so precious, in the sense that it's a very demanding industry. People have to put in a lot of hours. It's almost a 24/7 role. And if you're saying to someone, you can do the school pick with the family just because of this is going to save you this time. Sometimes I think that is the biggest return on investment on your personal time, but also then what you can do with that time is just in the workplace, and efficiency with that saving is probably one of the most critical things. It's still financially driven. I suppose money does come into it.
I think it's at the core of why people talk and implement AI so much. Like first version or first phase of this is the human augmentation. How can we be doing things 5 times faster, 8 times faster, 10 times more accurate? And we're looking at AI as well in 2 ways. One, devices long since incorporated AI to its hard-earned environment, then extended out to its supporting environment. So we're now resolving cases and things like that. Underlying even for our students of the time, which is fantastic. We've made our knowledge bases that much more intelligent. We've also been able to speed up the testing of what we call our tier 1 applications at a far more rapid pace. And we came from a point where we had dozens of tier 1 applications. You could push and patch, and that number is now 400. It's about to go to 1,500. And every month we are adding more tier 1 applications to our library. There will be a point in the coming 6 to 12 months where we're talking many thousands that include tier 1 and tier 2 applications, where customers will no longer have to worry, will this patch work? Will this version work? Will I have a blue screen up down? This all goes away. And all those things of CVEs and vulnerabilities, blue screens of death, boot time that takes 20 minutes or 30 minutes and multiple logins, take that away at 100-person scale or 1,000-person scale or tens of thousands of people. You're not just talking about a few minutes of saved time and a couple of dollars, but millions of dollars of benefit alike. And we're leveraging AI within the product to continue to accelerate that, but also to help remediate and to develop as well. And so we're trying to help our customers and leverage AI to like double save time and get a lot more simplicity. And some of that work is something that nobody really loves to do. You want to spend 7 days trying to troubleshoot something that you could probably run an agent and determine that answer in 3 minutes. Everybody benefits from that. It also means that your top tier talent can be focused on far more innovative stuff, way cooler things to add to the product line, or bigger, more complex things to solve. And I've been excited about that space for a really long time. It's such a selfish. It's a selfish thing all that time.
For a lot of people, one of the biggest returns of investment is time. So
well, you get it back.
Personal, professional.
Back when I was in sales, I had a sales leader who was always like, "What is the most precious commodity that we have as sellers?" And I happen to answer at time, but it's amazing. Like some people are like, "Oh, managing your pipeline or making sure you qualify out early." He's like, "Qualify out early? That's good because it saves you time." You can't get that back. The quarter end is coming no matter what.
Great fun to meet again in person. See what the new journey and adventure has in store for you. It sounds like something really exciting. So thank you for joining me and for everyone tuning in. Make sure to check out the device to get connected with Alex and the team. Definitely worthwhile, as you can probably tell, doing something absolutely brilliant. But it's been a pleasure, and continue to follow along for live episodes that we're documenting throughout the week. That's it for today. So thank you for tuning in and join us next time for more conversation.